Hey peeps, this is Kiza. Welcome to the Veterans of Thought podcast. I want to talk to you about this week. Firstly, why no uploads, because I've been busy. But I want to talk to you about this week. The Quality of Life Initiative for Dead by Daylight that's been announced for a little while now. And we haven't seen any fruits of its labor yet. But I guess I want to talk about, hey, what does this imply for the future of Dead by Daylight? And is it really good things? Or is it bad things? Or maybe even horrible things? And maybe Dead by Daylight will crumble under the weight of this initiative. And maybe it's a bad idea in the first place. Probably not. But I do want to discuss how I think it might shape up to be. So there are some things that worry me. Firstly, I sincerely hope that this isn't the extent of the changes we receive from April to December of this year. If it is, that's really bad. Because in my opinion, while we got some good stuff announced, and while we are hopefully getting some good stuff, I think overall that is not an acceptable amount of changes for Dead by Daylight to be in a more healthy state. And at least I hope there are more things to come with these updates. So let's first talk about the system that I think a lot of people really want, but I personally quite worry for the implementation of the Go Next prevention system. Now, a lot of people really hate the Go Next epidemic, and they're just like, wow, survivors are babies, and I think they're cringe, and I think that they should be banned permanently from enjoying video games and having fun and actually having a family as well, and you know, yada 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 yada. There's a lot of hot-handed opinions in that topic, and I suppose I understand why. It does severely impact your matches. But I do not agree that it's just like an entitlement issue at its core. Like, because this community, at either side, killer or survivor, have always been extremely entitled. And to suggest that suddenly just one side has grown so entitled they keep giving up constantly, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that is necessarily a community sentiment issue. I feel like there might be more things... I ran into her directly. I feel like there might be more things at hand than just the community sentiment there. And more of a gameplay issue, potentially. At least that's my 2 cents, I believe, problem. But really, fundamentally, that's not even the true problem I have with an idea of the Go Next prevention system. It's more that... Wow, that's good tracking. It's more that this is BHVR we're talking about. We are not forgetting this, right? I sincerely disagree with an attempt by BHVR to detect players giving up and banning them from the game. I feel like that's an insane idea to undertake. Like, genuinely, that feels so wild to me. That BHVR are just like, yeah, you know, we're gonna be able to make an automatic system that will detect when survivors are going next. No, I don't believe you can do that. I don't think you've got the sauce required to do that. Like, it's just, in my humble opinion, I don't think BHVR have proven themselves as game developers competent enough to develop a system like that. Because even a really competent and highly prestigious game developers would struggle to develop a system that wouldn't falsely ban like 1,000 people. And like, I understand, it's not a permanent like game ban, it's a disconnection penalty, but fundamentally, I still feel like very icky about it. Because, you know, oh my lord, the barely dodged. Because like, I personally, if like a 10-hour meg in my game, like, dies because she's just bad, and like she missed a skill check or whatever, I feel like that missed. Okay. I don't think that like BHVR system should ban her for like giving up or whatever. I also, if I'm already in like a bad situation, or I'm having a technical problem, or whatever, You know, if I have to step away from the computer for like 30 seconds and then, oh, the game detects that I've been hooked immediately and I didn't immediately run away, or like my mouse disconnects, I don't want to get a DC penalty for that. I feel like there are so many minute moments that can happen in this game that could count easily as giving up. Like, I don't know, you like discombobulate or whatever. That I feel like making a system that automatically decides that for you is absolutely wild. And unless it's the most non-effective minimal system in existence, I just disagree with it being implemented because I don't care how many give-uppers it might deter. I feel like it will have a hugely negative impact on a few players, and I don't think that's an acceptable choice. Like, you know, you could ban all cheaters, but if you also ban like 10% of legit players, I don't know. I think that's not an acceptable trade-off. You know, false positives are something I think that are really bad in scenarios like these, and I think are fundamentally unacceptable in any shape or form. Especially with how many supposedly false bans we've been seeing recently in DBD. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if you are, but I'm personally not willing to give PHVR that power, and I don't think that's a good thing. This is like the player reporting system automatic ban and feature that they were thinking of in the 5th anniversary, and you know, we as a community replied quite strongly and quite correctly, I might add, that no, you shouldn't do that because that'd be a bad thing. That is very abusable, and you are not good enough at video game development to implement that. And I think that's a fair assessment. So I am very worried about the Go Next prevention system. I think it can end up being really, really bad. And I hope I'm wrong. And eventually, I think I really would just rather have a comeback mechanic or a reward for people sticking it out, regardless of how the match is going. I think that's nice. And they do mention the latter part, but we haven't seen any details on what that might be, how that might look, etc., etc., etc. It's just something that might come eventually. So that's the thing I'm worried. A lot of the things that some people are worried about, specifically killer mains, are anti-tunneling, anti-camping, oh my god, we're gonna multiple survivors. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm gonna be honest, the current anti-camping system right now in the game kind of pretty much does nothing. Let's be honest now. Its effects are non-existent. I was hoping that was stunner. And you have Goblin Killer Player can go around it and ignore it essentially if they're playing decently well. Sure, in competitive focus scenarios, blah 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 blah, it can be overpowered or whatever. You're not playing in that scenario, and never am I. None of us are. We go outside. Well, I hope you do, because I certainly do. Anyway, so I really don't think that these systems for anti-slugging, anti-tunneling, anti-camping will be very impactful on your matches. BHVR are very afraid to make impactful, fundamental game changes to Dead by Daylight. They're very afraid. They're pussies. So I really wouldn't worry about that very much. Also, map offerings are going away, which is like half the reason why survivors win any games. Let's be honest. And also, the spawning rules are getting changed. So now, survivors are always going to spawn together. And I'm going to tell you, that will make you win like 20% more of your matches. Legitimately, that will make you win 20% more of your matches, because there is never going to be a game where you spawn and 3 survivors in 3 separate corners of the map are on generators. Like, that's just not going to happen anymore, and there'll be one, like, probably the biggest, actually, killer buff in the history of this game. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, but nobody's talking about it, because that is the wildest buff that killers can receive at large. All those chases where you go on the first chase and then 2 gens pop or 3 gens pop, that will essentially, unless you're playing really badly, will be gone. And that is wild. That is a huge buff. Map offerings being gone, also again a huge buff to killers. And I just really don't think you as a killer player should really worry about it, because if anything, it'll probably shake out either to be the same or maybe slightly killer favorite, in my opinion. But overall, I am a little whelmed. I'm not underwhelmed, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm just a little whelmed on the additions that are promised, now that I had more time to think about it. Because a lot of it really is just very minor quality of life stuff. And I think that is a bit of, it's not enough in my eyes. I think that's a good first step, but I'm certainly hoping there are a lot more things coming. But even if there are more things coming, the biggest issue is with the potential implementations things. Until recently, I was personally viewing the Dead by Daylight team as unable at a fundamental level to grasp the root cause of a lot of issues in their game, and just really bad at their job. And a lot of the times just being deaf. Not even to feedback in the community, but just kind of to what they're doing, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve, and not having a clear vision, a consistent idea of what they want to do, and they're just kind of haphazardly making changes. I think the best example of that is almost, he's an ex-DBD developer, Fred on Reddit, where he talked about how he buffed Lightborn specifically because he thought flashlights are the most overpowered thing in the game. And I think, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that it was like a lead game designer, it just really speaks to how rotten the game design team at BH3R War, Patrick, the infamous kills equal skills. It's such a fundamental disconnection from the reality of 99.99999999999% of players. It is bewildering, It is genuinely bewildering, and those are all ex-developers now, and the fact that something like this in the video is at all coming out, I'm speculating a little bit that it really might be just the almost spirit that's the only thing holding the team back from addressing like pain points in the game, like tunneling and camping, because he explicitly said, hey, this is why our game is good, because there's tunneling and camping, which is definitely a weird sentiment. I don't think that's why the video is good, but he can have whatever opinion he wants. I just think he's very stupid. So I am starting to incline to believe, I'm getting the inclination that maybe we are starting to think about it harder. And I think the biggest piece of shift in that for me is I've heard information that the Dead by Daylight team might be really aware of the issue. It's me, the Dead by Daylight team is aware of this issue, and we are looking into it, but we cannot provide any concrete details as of right now. It's a whole thing. But from what I understand, the current, not the past, not the secret Almo Patrick duo squad team, the current team on Dead by Daylight is in fact aware of the issues more than I ever thought they were, more than I think most people thought they were, and I'm genuinely thinking it might just be a fact that we are getting a change of the guard, a change of the people who are leading this game, a change of the people who are working in this game, and now people are kind of more locked in, so to say. And if that is true, and there are a lot more things coming, and BHVR aren't surface level attempting all of these quality of life initiatives, all of these changes, I am tentatively, very cautiously excited and optimistic for Dead by Daylight's future, which, is not something I say lightly. As any of you who are subscribed to the channel might know, or as any of you who are stumbling on my content once more might know. You okay, my friend? Oh, he's awake. I am quite the pessimist in examining... No. In examining the Dead by Daylight's team awareness and level of competency. And generally, I had a lot of negative things to say about the way they've handled Dead by Daylight. And I think that's fair. I don't think my harshness has been unwarranted. However, Uh, you know, I really like don't want to like say too much. I guess, but like or I can't say very much. But it's just fundamentally that I feel confident in what I know to be a little tentatively excited. I am not going to up 10 out of 10. Dead by Daylight is my favorite game ever. I'm so excited, I'm so hyped, because fundamentally right now as the game stands, I think there's so many problems with it that I am struggling to enjoy it very much. And that is sad, you know. But I am cautiously optimistic. And I think that with the change of the guard that I think BHVR has seen, I think BHVR can refocus and kind of reevaluate the problems with the game and maybe try to make it into something that is, I don't know, worthy, quote unquote, of a FNAF license. And that really does lend credence to me, the fact that like we're getting so much like gameplay update stuff that FNAF might not be the anniversary chapter, but who the hell knows. I am really hoping that the things that we see are like on the roadmap right now aren't the only things that are coming, and we're going to see a lot of different stuff come out in Dead by Daylight and surprises in positive ways. Because I think the best time in Dead by Daylight's history, personally for me, was 5.3.0. Reading the developer updates for that and going, holy shit, there is so much, and holy shit, so much of this is good, and then seeing there's a part 2 and it's also excellent, was probably one of the most exciting times I've ever been to be a Dead by Daylight player. Of course, Boon Circle of Healing kind of soured the mood of that patch and the history thereafter, but genuinely, if you were in the community at the time and you were following the developer changes, it was one of the most exciting times to be a Dead by Daylight fan. Because in just one mid chapter, along with some new content, we got this just like injection of really cool balance changes. Like, you know, the Spirit of McLean giving us so much stuff to chew on, and it was just wondrous. It was wondrous, it was enjoyable, and it was fun, and I really miss having that happen in Dead by Daylight. I miss opening up and seeing suddenly 10 changes drop that are really cool and that are in like shift the game in a more fun space for everyone. And I'm hoping that the Dead by Daylight team is aware of this issue and are looking into it right now. So to say, I hope that the magnitude of changes coming to the game is going to be huge. Because I think, you know, this game has been out for over 8 years now. You know, the 10th anniversary of Dead by Daylight is not far beyond the horizon. And I think this is about the time that Dead by Daylight needs to evolve into something better. We've been running around Palace of Wood for a while, and I think it's time to step up. And I think DV8 game mode has been kind of a little space of experimentation for DBD. And to try and see like various fundamental game mechanics to see if they work in Dead by Daylight, see what kind of wild shit they can get away with. Because there's like so much stuff that BHVR in the MA, I think from a year ago at this point, said, oh yeah, we are working on it right now. We are looking at it. We are prototyping the gameplay. That I think we are about to be in the timing that a lot more stuff is coming. Like, I still remember that Dead by Daylight was looking into a lot of generator-related changes, how to make that more fun, how to make there be more variety in that. I think like that was like a year ago at this point, so I think there might be a lot more, and in fact, I think I know. You know, I am not helpful in not being wishy-washy about it, but kind of all I can say, I guess, that there might be more stuff coming, and they might be more aware of things than they've appeared so far before. Because this is like quite the big push that I'm certain was very hard to sell to executives. Oh yeah, guys, we're gonna push all our content, all our cosmetic releases by 3 fucking weeks. Like that's kind of big, and I'm pretty sure unprecedented in DVD's history before. So the fact that they've been able to do that, the fact that the game design team has the balls to do that, I think is a signifier that we might see a more positive change in DBD. So I think if you've been like disillusioned with Dead by Daylight, like I've been, I think this is about the time to maybe maybe be a little bit more excited. Maybe follow Dead by Daylight again and see if things change, how things are, how things will shake out. Or, I don't know, follow my channel, because I do cover Dead by Daylight stuff and how things are changing. No. What the Sigma? So yeah, you know, if you've been negative on DBD and kind of disillusioned with it, I think it's about time to maybe become a little illusioned with it. Maybe try the game once more if you've not played it in a while, or cautiously wait for the changes that come out. Am I going to start playing Dead by Daylight right now again? A lot. No, I'm definitely going to wait for a lot of changes, and a lot of the changes do worry me. But I feel the energy is in the air, the potential is right there. So all we need is for the Dead by Daylight team to be aware of this issue and actually look into it right now. It's an exciting time. But it's also kind of a counter drought because, you know, there's no new chapter, there's no new balance changes. It's just, hey, at some point there will be changes, and we don't know when. You know, it is kind of tricky to try and follow all that good shit. What the? Wait, are you gonna flash your save or not? My white boy in Christ. Point save. You know, like I think I've garnered a bit of a rep for being a negative Nancy or whatever. But genuinely, I do not really enjoy that much to be so negative, be like, oh yeah, this change is dog shit, I hate this is ass, this will not make the game more fun, this will in fact make it less fun. I really do like analyzing complex changes that will in the end make the game more fun. And the fact that's coming to the Daylight is very exciting and kind of will revitalize a lot of my content if it's executed at least like 80% correctly, which is, you know, definitely a change of pace. And I'm hoping that you'll see a lot more stuff from me. Speaking of stuff from me, because I think this is about time in our short little mini episode to talk about it. I am working on a very big video that isn't, well, it is negative, but hey, Felix, hold on, Felix. What the Sigma? What? Oh no. I made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. You fucks. Slug race. No. Anyway, so yeah, I've been very negative, and I'm working on a big video that will be hopefully very fun. Because it is one of the biggest videos I've ever made, probably the biggest video I've ever made. I've had at this point consultations with people to try and talk about the extent of a system in a very key system that I think is extremely underutilized and could be much cooler than it is. And I'm very excited to make a big banger video about it. So. It's currently not really done. and I hope to have it done soon-ish, but, you know, I've been very busy with life, and thus content is a little bit on the back foot. So in the meantime, I wanted to produce this video, which originally was going to be a scripted video that's going to be extensively talking about the Project Quality of Life initiative, but instead kind of just turned into a yapping video because, you know, I can't really justify like a lot of the stuff, but like I think coming into the initiative just raw, if I was raw dogging it, I would be a lot more negative about its potential. Because, you know, fundamentally, I'm just like, it's probably going to be bad, knowing BHPR is past. But the fact that I am aware of the fact that BHPR might be trying, and they might understand things more now than they have before, and, you know, thinking over that information, that tidbit, and kind of correlating it with all the changes that has been happening to it by the other team have kind of shifted my perspective. So I've made this video, and next I'm probably going to be covering either the PTP deep dive, if the PTP comes out by then, or it's going to be the big video, which will be on the RNG system of Dead by Daylight and how I think it's underutilized. We're gonna go pretty deep. We're gonna be going deep. We're gonna go in depth. We're gonna talk a lot about Dead by Daylight, its RNG, how it could be improved, how it'll be a more fundamental and cooler part of the game instead of the boring slugfest that it is now. Well, I can't go too much into it, otherwise I'd be spoiling the video. Patreons will get early snippets of that video as I'm working on it. Currently, it's in pre-production. Essentially, I'm doing research. I'm writing up a script. I'm going through it. It's, you know, it's a lengthy process. It's going to be probably a very long and extensive video, unless I decide to cut it down rapidly because it just won't work script-wise. But we will see. I am hoping I can get it out relatively soon, if at least by the end of this month. It will be really nice. I'm sorry there's been a bit of a content drought on this channel. I wanted to make a quick video about the Project Quality of Life Health Initiative thing. Didn't really happen because once I started asking around about it, I stumbled on information that kind of just sent me spiraling into fuck what I think about the body right now. And, you know, it is nice to be in a more positive space, but it's also, I can't really justify a lot about it. So it's just kind of a vibe thing. And I was really struggling to write something coherently in a manner that explains my positive feelings while also not, you know, encroaching on the stuff I know. And, you know, it's just, it's a whole mess, right? I think I did an okay job so far, and I'm excited to see how things are. Because it's just exciting to be hopeful about this game. And I am looking forward to making more content that isn't just, hey, this change is bad, or hey, this change is alright, I guess, or hey, they didn't change this, which was we really needed them to change. I really want to make more content that is like the PDP deep dives, but specifically, I really liked my 2v8 video. I know a lot of people disagree with it because we have fun with the game, and I think that's okay. That is just my analytical approach to the game design organization. You know, I also will do it a bit. I think Scott John made a video saying, oh, 2v8 like massively got voted in. So clearly, all of you who are saying 2v8 is unpopular are like out of touch. You do realize that it wasn't an extension of 2v8, it was an extension of the bonuses from 2v8 also. It's like I've seen so many people also confused. Wait, they didn't extend the double XP? Like, yeah, they didn't. Which means to me personally that a lot of the people, like I know a handful of people who didn't vote for 2v8. I know a handful of people who just voted for the block points. They just play Survivor 1v4 with BPS stacks or cake stacks, and they're just taking advantage of a block point bonus. So I know that's an extensive thing that has been voted for, which I think skewed the results quite heavily. Oh no, I don't think 2v8 is that popular as it's kind of made out to be. You know, it's kind of floundering. But what I was meaning to say is I think that the video came out really well. Apart from visual, also I didn't have time to do like AI upscale of my full camera footage. Like, this is just the Elgato Face webcam, which means it doesn't look very, very good when it's blown up to full size. So usually I have to AI upscale, but that would take so long of the video, as long as that one. So I didn't, and it looked a little poo. But, you know, I really, really did enjoy making it, and I think it was really cool. And I had some outtake BTS bloopers on Patreon, which was also quite fun. All in all, I just was really happy with how that video turned out, and I think I want to do more that style of video. And I will. So that'll be the shit of the content for this channel. And I'm excited to see you in the vlog in the future. And until then. Well, how do I say it again? I already forgot. I haven't made videos for so long. Right. Let me consult the script for this entire video. Alright. I'll let you do.